Hey, good morning. It's Ruben Lowing here in Cypress, Texas. I got up this morning and read my scriptures. Um, there was a lot pulling on me, especially in Proverbs this morning. I couldn't there was too many good verses that were grabbing my attention for me to decide on just one, right? Um, but there was something that was feeding into my mind. Um, and it was about responsibility, right? And what does that mean? Okay, I remember I got conditioned by my stepdad, not to lie, and the he would so like if something happened, like the screen door didn't get latched, so the dog got out, or the didn't latch the door to the shed with the grain in it, so the goat got in there and ate the grain. Um, and if I thought I would do like the reasonable deduction, right? Well, I was over there. I was probably the last one there, so it was probably me. I'd own up to it. And then he'd go, "Why did you do that?" And if I said, I don't know, was considered a lie. And if I didn't know, I'm like, so one time, and I don't want to didn't want to get a whipping. And he's like, I go, just stupid, I guess. And he couldn't agree with me, he couldn't disagree, so I got out of a beating. Right. But and then in the SEAL teams, I had this guy. He was one of my BUD/S instructors, and he was had an interesting story. He was going through SEAL training, and he was on a bicycle, got hit by a car and cut his foot off, and they sewed his foot back on, and he went back through SEAL training, and had to go all the way from the beginning, so he had to go through Hell Week again, and he made it. And they made him like honor man of the class, right? So he was one of the guys that Dick Marcinko pulled into the SEAL team, or the Mob 6, the former SEAL Team 6, and so he was that real strong. You don't make no excuses to this guy, right? And you own up to your responsibility. There was something happened, and we were having to clear these brush away from the target so we could see the targets. The grass had grown up really high, and I found these spotters. They had these metal discs on them, so the guys are swinging these spotters like a sickle, and one of them hit the other guy in the arm hard. They didn't break it or just bruise it, and and I took responsibility for it, and that made an impression with him. He pulled me aside. He goes, I can tell you had the right kind of mentorship. He took me aside. It was really, really weird. It's like in the military, they teach you in leadership, you praise in public and you reprimand in private. And most time in the SEAL teams, they have that totally. That happens exactly the opposite way. They chastise you in public, and if you're an attaboy, like when nobody else can hear, it's kind of weird. And yeah, the fear of the leadership, right? And but there's what happened. Somebody said something that happened, and they said it was just an accident. I didn't mean to do it. And he said, you didn't mean not to. And that stuck with me, you know, when you're, it just, you got to just be intentional about everything. Because if you're not, it's almost like you're intentionally slacking, or you're intentionally, you know, not caring. And if you don't care, right, then things are going to fall apart. You got to care about everything, you know, and that's makes all the difference. And people can tell when you're conscious about it, everything. And and sometimes when other people, they're not, right? They're like la-di-da, you know, they're not taking responsibility for anything. And they you know, they don't have a direction for their life, right? Now I'm even learning that when you have that deep focus on something, a desire for something, you actually trigger something in your brain. You make it part of your subconscious when you desire it strong enough and enough times, you're thinking about it, it becomes part of your subconscious. So even when you go into a beta brainwave, that's the brainwave you go into when you're in crisis, then that amygdala in your brain will hunt for that thing that you have a desire for, that strong desire for, right? And you'll search for it, be on automatic, okay? And that's powerful, right? No matter what's going on, you're still on your quest to get that thing that you want, right? So, you know, but you got to be intentional until the point where it becomes part of you. And that's the same thing with, you know, seeking God's voice or his face, right? You get that David for sure, man. David was doing that in Psalms. And you know, and I get this a lot. I just want to serve the ministry. You know, and I'm like, and what is that? How is that? Okay, because what you don't want to be is a clanging gong, right? You just don't want to be a bunch of words. You need to take action. You need to be practicing what you preach. I need to practice what I preach, okay? And you know, and when you're actually doing something, taking action that benefits somebody's life, right? Now you've done something. Now you're that walking miracle, right? Have a great day.